Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and I'm here to list off my favorite metal and rock albums of 2010, but other than that, let's go and get started. Alright, so up first is For We Are Many by All That Remains, and when it comes to this album, I just think it's very underrated because many fans of All That Remains just seem not to like this album for whatever reason, and I just don't get why, because in my opinion, I think it's one of their best albums because it is in my top 3 All That Remains albums. So yeah, this album has its moments of lighter songs, and it also has its moments of heavier songs. With this album, you got 2 radio-friendly songs and 1 ballad, and the rest are heavier songs, but yeah. Now Let Them Tremble, which is the opening track, is more like an intro or an instrumental, but either way, it's so fucking heavy with those riffs and the guitar work. It's just so fucking awesome. Just really like that. For We Are Many, the title track is really good. The 2 radio-friendly songs would be The Last Time and Hold On, but those are really great songs as well. Despite them being radio-friendly songs, I just really like those a lot. And I come back to them a lot when I listen to any songs from this album. So yeah, great songs. And also the Waiting One, the closing track on this album, is a ballad, but it's still a great song regardless of that. So yeah, up first is All That Remains, For We Are Many. Great album, and if you're a fan of this band and you have not heard this album yet or haven't heard it in a while, then I definitely give it a recommendation because it's a great album. So yeah, For We Are Many by All That Remains. Great album here. Alright, up next is Nightmare by Avenged Sevenfold. You guys probably already know that this is my favorite album from Avenged Sevenfold. I've said it many times before throughout my YouTube journey here on YouTube, and I really mean that dude, because it's a really great album. You got songs like the title track Nightmare, Danger Line, Buried Alive, Natural Born Killer, So Far Away, Victim, Fiction, Save Me, and a couple other songs. But yeah, this album overall is fantastic from start to finish, and it was their first album with former drummer of Dream Theater, Mike Portnoy. But yeah, overall, this is a really great album from A7X. So yeah, Avenged Sevenfold and their album Nightmare. Great album for sure. Definitely one of their best and my favorite. Great album. Alright, so up next is Fever by Bullet for My Valentine. This is a great album from Bullet for My Valentine. It's not my favorite by them, but I still do think it's a great album. You got songs like Your Betrayal, which is the intro that I used for my YouTube channel here on this channel. Just a great song overall. Just really like the intro on that song, so that's why I chose it as my channel intro for 10 seconds. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. Also like the title track Fever. The Last Fight was a great song. Pleasure and Pain's pretty good. Alone is a great song. Bittersweet Memories is more of a rock song, or radio rock song, but it's still a great song. So yeah, Fever by Bullet for My Valentine, great album. Definitely had to put it on here because I really like this album, even though it isn't my favorite by this band. Still a good album. So if you like metalcore, then definitely check out that album. Okay, up next is Demon Hunter's album, The World is a Thorn. Now, when it comes to this album, it's far from being one of my favorites from this band, but I still do think it's a good album. Despite that, you got songs like Descending Upon Us, Life War Collapsing, Driving Nails, the title track The World is a Thorn. I still don't like Titus Around Their Neck. I mean, I used to like that song, but not anymore, because I just find the lyrics in that just too repetitive and too cringy. I was trying to think of words to say, but yeah, it's just a cringe-worthy song overall. I don't even get how I used to like it, because to me it's cringe. That's why I don't like it anymore. And another song on this album I really like is the closing track, Blood and the Tears. Definitely one of my favorites on the album. So yeah, Demon Hunter, The World is a Thorn. Great album for sure. Despite it not being one of their best, I still think it's a good album. Okay, up next is Asylum by Disturbed. Now, this is one of Disturbed's darker albums. You can just hear it within the album. But yeah, still a good album. I mean, it's not one of my favorites from this band once again, but still a good album. From Disturbed, you got songs like Asylum, which is the title track. Warrior is a great song. Another Way to Die was pretty good. Never Again is a great song. The Animal, another great song. Sacrifice is a great song. And Innocence. There's also a cover on this album which does not appear on the back of the track listing, but however, I do still think it has a pretty good cover. I don't remember the name of the cover, but it's still pretty good. So yeah, Disturbed and their album Asylum. Amazing album here. Not one of their best, but still a really good album. And you should check it out because it's pretty underrated when it comes to Disturbed's music, at least in my opinion. Okay, up next is The Oracle by Godsmack. This is another album when it comes to a band where not many of their fans really like it, but I don't get why, because I think this is a good album from Godsmack, and it is in my top 3 from this band when it comes to any of their studio albums. So yeah, with this album, you got songs like Crying Like a Bitch, Saints and Sinners, Love, Hate, Sex, Pain. Good Day to Die, I think, is a very good song and pretty underrated when it comes to Godsmack. And Shadow of a Soul was another underrated song on this album. So yeah, The Oracle by Godsmack, great album. If you're a fan of this band and you don't really know this album much, then I definitely recommend it because it's a great album for sure. Definitely one of their best, at least in my opinion it is. Because a lot of their fans don't really like the album for whatever reason. I think it's good though. Alright, up next is Stampede by the band Hell Yeah on the album. When it comes to this album, I don't really care for it much as a whole, but I do like a few songs on it, like Cowboy Way was a decent album opener, Hell of a Time was really good. The title track is decent, but my favorite on this album by far is song 5 on the album, and it's called Better Man. I just really love that song. It's one of my favorite Hell Yeah songs of all time. So yeah, it's definitely my favorite on this album by far. So yeah, Stampede by Hell Yeah. Not a bad album by any means, just far from being one of my favorites from this band. Still wanted to include it on here though, because it's not bad, I just don't really care for it as a whole, besides those few songs. Alright, up next is Iron Maiden's album, The Final Frontier. Now, when it comes to Iron Maiden's fan base, some people tend to like this album and some people tend not to like it, but either way, I still think it's a good album. I can understand why many fans of this band don't really care for this album much, because it's just way too long. It has way too many long songs. I mean, it's a 10-song album, but majority of its songs are just way too fucking long. It's not a bad album though. You got songs like El Dorado, Starblind, The Man Who Would Be King, and When the Wild Wind Blows, just to name a few songs. But yeah, still a good album regardless of that. So yeah, Iron Maiden, The Final Frontier. Far from being one of my favorites from them, but still a really great album from Iron Maiden. So if you're a Maiden fan, definitely check out that album if you haven't heard it in a long time. I know it's long, but it's still pretty good. Alright. Up next, now, when it comes to this band, this album is easily my least favorite from them. I just don't really care for the album as a whole. It is my least favorite from this band, but of course the band is Korn, and this is Korn 3, Remember Who You Are. Now, I don't hate this album, but it's just easily the worst in my opinion, so that's why it's my least favorite. But yeah, you got songs like You Were Time, which is the opening track. I think it's a decent song, but far from one of their best album tracks or best album openers. It's a decent song at best, that's all I'll say. Boiled Down, Leave Me Alone is a favorite for me on here. Pop a Pill is a decent or solid song. And Let the Guilt Go, but other than that though, this album as a whole just don't do it for me. I guess it's because of the cringe-worthy lyrics and that in the songs, and I just don't really care for this album as a whole, just a few songs. It's not terrible, but it's easily Korn's worst album for me, but I still wanted to put it on here because I do like a few songs on this album. So yeah, Korn 3, Remember Who You Are, and this is the special edition. Just wanted to let you guys know. Alright, just a few more albums left, guys. Alright, the next album in the list is going to be A Thousand Suns by Linkin Park. Now, this is also another album that is divided among fans, but this time it's for Linkin Park. I know this album has its moments of electronic songs and etc., but I still think it's a good album and really underrated when it comes to Linkin Park. Some people would probably disagree, but I don't care. It's just my opinion. So with my opinion, I think this album is underrated. Great album still, though. You got songs like Burning in the Skies, When They Come For Me, which is easily one of my favorites on the album. I just really like that song. It's awesome and really underrated. Waiting for the End was a great song. Riches and Kings, of course, another favorite for me. Great song. Iridescent, first heard that on a movie called Transformers back in 2012. I don't remember which Transformers movie it was, but it's like at the end of the movie with the song credits or whatever you call those things when it comes to movies. But yeah, still a great song and maybe an underrated one again. Still a great song though. The Catalyst, which is a great song, and of course the closing track, The Messenger, is pretty good as well. So yeah, Linkin Park, A Thousand Suns. Great album, and if you're a fan of electronic rock or Linkin Park in general and you don't really like this album, then I definitely think you should give it a second chance because it's a great album. So yeah, Linkin Park, A Thousand Suns. I really like this album. It's not one of my favorites by Linkin Park by any means, but I still think it's a good album from them, you know. Oh, alright, just a couple more left, guys, after this one I'm about to show you. So yeah, up next is Motionless and White's album, Creatures. Now, this is one of my favorites from this band. I'm not sure if it's my favorite album from Motionless and White, but it's still a good album. With this album, you got songs like Immaculate Misconception, which I think is a very awesome way to open up this album. London in Terror was another great song on here. Of course, Abigail. Abigail is my favorite on the album. Creatures, the title track, is another favorite for me on here. City Lights was pretty good. Puppets, The First Snow, which is the first part of their song Puppets, because they have like 3 different parts from their earlier albums, including this one. But yeah, Puppets, The First Snow is awesome. I really like it. Undead Ahead, of course, the original version of the song, because part 2 did not appear on any other album besides their 2019 album, The Skies. But yeah, Undead Ahead, the original, does appear on this album. It's awesome. And of course, Scissor Hands, The Last Nigger. Really good album here, so yeah. Motionless and White, Creatures. Okay, I know I said I had a couple more albums after that one, but I actually forgot that I have to talk about one. Even though I don't have it on CD, the album I don't have on CD, I still want to include it on here. And it is Overkill's 2010 album, Ironbound. I don't have it on CD just yet, but I will one of these days, I hope. But I don't know many songs from the album, but the only songs I'm really familiar with when it comes to that album are, of course, the title track, Ironbound, and the song Bring Me the Fight. I believe that's the name of the song. Just let me know down in the comments section of this video, because I don't remember the song name by heart, but yeah, it's a great song though. So yeah, Overkill, Ironbound, definitely had to mention it in this video, but I will definitely listen to the album in full one of these days. Okay, other than that though, let's go and move on. Okay, up next is Omen by Soulfly. Now this is definitely probably one of my least favorites from this band, but I still wanted to put it on here because I still do think it's a solid album. Sorry guys. But yeah, I really like this album though, despite it being not one of my favorites from this band, because I do not know all of their albums by heart or in full, but I heard some songs here and there from their other albums and stuff, and they're a pretty good band. But yeah, when it comes to this album, it's not one, I don't think it's one of their best, it's not one of my favorites, but I do like some songs on it, like Bloodbath and Beyond. I think that's how you say it, I'm not sure, because I can't really tell what the name of the song is because of the print on this album, but it's whatever. Rise of the Fallen was okay. I like Jeffrey Dahmer, despite it being about a serial killer or titled after a serial killer. Still a good song. So yeah, Omen by Soulfly. Not bad, just don't really come back to it much because I don't think it's one of their better albums out of all of the stuff I heard from them so far. Okay, and the last album for the video is Audio Secrecy by Stone Sour. This album is pretty good. So with this album, you got songs like Mission Statement, which is a good song. Digital, Did You Tell Me, which is really good. Really like that one. Say You'll Haunt Me is a great song. And I also really like the song Hesitate, which is probably my favorite song on the album. I know it's more of a radio-friendly song, but it's still a great song. I really like that one. Just has amazing lyrics, and I really like the meaning behind it. Awesome song. I really love that one. So yeah, Audio Secrecy by Stone Sour. So that's gonna wrap it up for my favorite metal and rock albums of the year 2010. Let me know some of your favorite metal and rock albums of 2010. But other than that, I'll see y'all next time. Thank you guys for watching, and stay safe out there, guys. Hope you guys have a great day, and peace.